Well, this month is Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and just because you don't live in New York doesn't mean that you can't become a victim. Safe Horizon Works is working to empower victims of the act to move on from crisis to confidence. And here now to tell us a little bit more, we welcome Noelle Fries, who is the Manager of Training and Outreach at Safe Horizon's Anti-Trafficking Program. And welcome, Noelle.
Thanks for having me.
So when we talk about human trafficking, obviously this is Human Trafficking Awareness Month, but I think sometimes we in New York City are a little bit numb. We hear about it, but really don't know too much about how bad is human trafficking across both New York State and nationally.
Right, thanks. So human trafficking is often conflated with smuggling. It usually, people think that it has to be a person crossing borders or it requires movement. And in reality, someone can be born in the Bronx, raised in the Bronx, and trafficked in the Bronx. So the definition is the use of force, fraud, or coercion to obtain labor or commercial sexual acts. And it happens, unfortunately, really often in this city, in this country, and internationally. It's estimated that almost 21 million people internationally are affected.
And that's a huge number. But when we talk about being around here, you're living around New York, we walk around New York, we see, we hear, but when it comes to human trafficking, sometimes it's not really number one on people's radar. How important do you think it is for those who are watching, those who are, watching on television right now, to really be locked into this?
Yeah, I think it's of utmost importance, actually. New York City, because we have vast inequality and because we're a city of high tourism, there's also a high population of runaway youth. All of these things make human trafficking really prevalent here. So we can think about domestic work, people who are doing childcare or cleaning houses. We are also thinking about the tourism industry, so restaurants and hotels, who's bussing your table, who's doing the dishes. And of course we can think about youth and people who are being sex trafficked.
Yeah, and we know those numbers continue to rise. So this month, the word is getting out. What's going on throughout the course of the month to make us more aware?
Well, I am involved with a bunch of trainings this month. This is my busiest month for training and community outreach. VOH, which is our leadership survival group at Safe Horizon, they hosted an event last week to raise awareness within communities. Tomorrow night in Brooklyn at the YWCA, the Brooklyn Task Force, Brooklyn Human Trafficking Task Force that we co-chair, is actually hosting its annual January event. Everyone is welcome. It's called Collaboration and Success, and we're going to hear from survivors as well as law enforcement about the importance of collaboration, so everyone can come through there. And also, earlier this month, I did a training here at Lehman College to future school counselors. So we're trying to get the word out. I think that education is the biggest step that we need to take right now.
Right. And so we do have some numbers. We're going to throw them up on the screen to give people a little bit more of an awareness as to what's going on when it comes to, this human trafficking. There it is. 20.9 million people are being trafficked worldwide. And then presently we have 1,107 telephone counseling sessions that are given to survivors in the year 2015. And you yourself at Safe Horizons, 210 survivors, has actually been helped by Safe Horizons in the anti-trafficking program just last year. And so talk a little bit about that work, about helping those survivors who are out there.
Yeah, so I just want to say that 68% of our trafficking program sees labor trafficking. So again, despite media coverage of sex trafficking, it's really important to keep labor in our mind.
So let's again tell somebody what exactly labor trafficking is.
Labor trafficking is the use of force, fraud, or coercion to obtain some type of labor. Okay. So the most common ones in New York State are domestic work, childcare, cleaning of houses, restaurants, hotels, industries like that. Construction is also a really big one.
Were people who were pretty much underpaid, not paid, what goes?
Yeah, all of the above. They could be told deceitful lies, told that they would get great opportunities when they come here, and are met with none of those opportunities and no days off. They also could accrue debts, so they're told that they have to pay an obscene amount for the housing that they're provided and the food, and so they just keep incurring debts and can't get out of it. So our program, ATP, what we do is we have 3 intensive case managers that offer help with emergency needs, such as shelter or health care. We also do counseling and emotional needs. We have 2 on-staff attorneys that work primarily with immigration remedies, because a lot of people don't know this, but regardless of immigration status, you are entitled to services in this country, and you can actually seek immigration remedies to obtain legal service or legal status in this country if you are a victim of trafficking. Additionally, we have VOH, Voices of Hope, which is our survivor leadership group. So a lot of our clients we work with for years at a time. And once they get past a crisis point, once they get a little more stable, they're invited and encouraged to attend and participate in advocacy with me, doing trainings and community outreach, and building community and their voices in other ways.
And just what you did today, I think, created some awareness, because now some people are aware of human trafficking, because everybody's always knowing sex trafficking. But when you know about human trafficking, domestically, the labor. And so if there's someone out there right now and they feel as though they're a victim, or they've got a family member or a friend that's a victim, what are the options that's available to them, and what can they do?
Great. So you can call our intake line. Hopefully that will be shown on the screen.
Oh, yeah, we got you.
Anti-Trafficking at Safe Horizons intake line. There's also a national human trafficking hotline, which is a really great resource for anyone to call. I think that getting services is the first step. Getting someone to help you with emergency needs and then also emotional needs. This is a really severe trauma. It's the abuse of power and control and the exploitation of a person for profit. So it's one of the most severe traumas a person can go through. So I would say getting someone to support you and advocate you in that process is of utmost importance.
And so for people who want more information, you got to take the national hotline number down. We do have it. It's 888-373-7888. That's the national hotline number. But if you're talking about calling Safe Horizon, and you can call their anti-trafficking hotline for survivors, that number is 718-943-8652. Once again, that number is 718-943-8652, or you can always visit www.safehorizon.org and get more information there and letting people know. What are if you had to give like a couple of quick bullets as to what people should know right now, what would that be?
That regardless of legal status in this country, you have rights to services. About 45% of the national statistics say that it's people born in the U.S. 55% are people that are born out of this country. So regardless of status, you have a right to services. And regardless of whether you committed a crime or first consented to whatever form of trafficking, you still have rights. And then I would say, be an active community member. The people most vulnerable are people who lack resources, right? So money, knowledge of systems, knowledge of the language, people who lack support. So people who they don't have a friend or a family member to say, those are red flags, this doesn't sound right. And lastly, people who are already vulnerable in our society. So we as a community in the Bronx, in New York City, we really have to be better about supporting all the vulnerable people in our communities to stave off.
All right. Well, Noelle Fries, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us. Noelle is the manager of training and outreach for Safe Horizons Anti-Trafficking Program. If you didn't know, that January is Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and hopefully got the information at the bottom of the screen to be able to get tied into. And so thank you for creating some awareness.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break. We've got some more messages right after this.